Well, congratulations on this documentary. It is completely fascinating. I was really captivated by it. Why tell this story? I feel like it's something we should already know, but we haven't been exposed to this before. What made you guys want to tell this story?
Well, I can just from a filmmaking standpoint, I didn't wake up one morning and say that I want to make a firefighter biker documentary. I didn't even know the two subcultures interacted with each other. You know, prior to learning about the FLORIAN'S KNIGHTS motorcycle club, which opened up in Vancouver, just outside Vancouver, which is where I live. And so you know what, I really hadn't thought about firefighters and mental health, maybe, since anytime, 9/11 comes up or when an anniversary rolls around, then you start to think about, well, the 343 and the guys who are still struggling. But then that passes, and you don't really think about what firefighters are dealing with on a daily basis. And so when I learned about this motorcycle club and these guys who are riding as a coping strategy for their PTSD, I just found, when you haven't thought about something in a while, you think, well, is the audience the same way? And is this some new ground we can break? And that's what this movie has become.
I have much respect for first responders. I just feel they don't get the respect they deserve from a lot of people until somebody makes a movie about it. And it's usually like, oh, the celebrity does a great job in portraying this person. But as a former first responder, how do you feel like when you see people pay respect to you guys like this film does?
Well, I think historically, going way back, we're talking 50, 60, 70 years or more, the firehouses or fire halls as they are in Canada, they were quite often the center of the community. And people would gravitate towards the fire hall. And so that community aspect and the respect was there. And over time, as the small towns got bigger, just like in Vancouver, that connection, it never went away totally, but it did definitely diminish. And it's just because of sheer populations and that connectivity and that personal kind of experience with the community. However, I also know that in spite of that growth in population and that lessening of connectivity, firefighters have always been held in quite high regard in any type of poll that's taken as far as the trust factors go. So that's always been there. But there are times when, as firefighters, you do think that there was misperceptions about it, what it is we actually do, minute by minute, day to day kind of thing. And this film that I think it's brilliant, and he's captured the story very well. And I think this film is going to do a lot for what we do as firefighters and also what problems we can incur with respect to mental health.
Yeah, mental health definitely doesn't get the light it deserves. I think it's still very stigmatized. What do you hope this film does for not just the firefighters, but for mental health in a broader sense?
Well, I'll go first, I guess. Job one on this film, and I never could have imagined from the onset that this documentary was going to be what it ended up being. I'm new to this stuff, and as it went on, I started to get a sense or feel that this documentary was going to be have a major influence potentially on awareness. So what do I hope after seeing the finished product? What do I hope it accomplishes is, first and foremost, I've said this on numerous occasions, if this documentary saves one life, not dozens or hundreds, but one, then in the way I work in life, that's a tremendous achievement. But I do believe that it's going to have a much more profound effect. And here's the bonus. The people who are going to come to see this aren't just going to be firefighters. They're going to be all sorts of first responders, but even more so, They're going to be the general public. And you know, everyone, whether they're a first responder or not, they have moms and dads and aunts and uncles and kids, sons, daughters, and anyone can incur PTSD through any type of traumatic incident or a series of incidents. Now with the film, I'd like to think that people have that awareness that, you know what, Bob's not acting the way he was before something that happened, or Mary's struggling with that issue. And they'll know it's possible it could be a PTSI injury.
As you continue on with your bike riding, do you feel yourself, kind of having that PTSD become less and less as you go along? Because I know riding a motorcycle is very freeing, and it is very much a therapeutic experience.
My personal experience, I knew I was damaged goods when I retired. And when I retired, I went into seclusion and was staring at the walls, and the world was getting pretty dark. I had my motorcycle, and I noticed that there was a connection between alleviating the symptoms and when I rode my bike. And from that, I came across this group of former firefighters or active firefighters who rode motorcycles together. I was asked to join up and was accepted. And from that moment, we're talking like that, the duplicity in a sense of the therapy with the riding of the bike, but also being amongst people who understood. I say in the movie, my motorcycle is my medicine. And that is absolutely true. It was everything. And the club aspect of it made it even more so.
For you, Pan, what has been the biggest impact that going through the process of making this has been for you?
I think it was, well, first off, we had made a promise, I think, to the audience early on that we weren't going to go out here and, license footage from a news station and kind of play that with interviews and kind of make this, kind of, I would say, kind of a pseudo doc where it's like, I wanted to take people to the front lines of the modern firefighter, like today, what is happening in the halls when they go on the rig, when they go to the calls, when they come back, when they go home, what's happening in their life right now. So I think it was impactful to do a 24-hour shift, with the Toronto Fire Department or with the Detroit Fire Department, and to be welcomed into the fire hall, to be sleeping in the fire hall, and to get up with them and go to a call at 3 a.m. with our cameras. And that was life-changing for sure. Like, you look at your communities differently because you get a sense of the call volume and what's happening in your home on any given night. And then when you go and you look at these firefighters in the eyes, you have a sense of what they've seen. Just a sense. Like, I've got like a 20%, idea of what it is over a 35-year career. But, and then, I don't ride a motorcycle. I don't come from a family. I don't have family members who really ride. I never thought about it as honestly, if I saw somebody riding down the street, it's another mode of transportation. It's kind of got a cool anti-authoritarian aspect to it, freeing, but I never thought of the therapeutic aspect of it. And when I met all these guys and realized that first responders across North America, across the world, ride, that really opened my eyes. To see the passion these guys have for it, and it being just an extension of themselves, just has been really inspiring. It's nice to know that there's an issue, but then there's also a solution, one solution that we found, and that's riding a bike.
For both of you, what was that experience of going in and seeing the motorcycle club for the first time? How did you each take it in, and how did it impact the way you guys saw firefighters after being exposed to the MC aspect of it as well?
For me, I knew basically everyone who was in the club when I came into it, and they were all firefighters. So it's hard to explain, but right off the top, we all knew what each other did as professional firefighters. We knew our jobs, and we knew that we had that commonality, and the bond is automatic. It's almost an automatic when you meet another firefighter. It's, hey brother, hey sister, you know where they've been. And that's a tremendous attraction for someone who like was in my situation where I wasn't so sure I was going to see the next day's dawn. So for me, the transition to the club was very, very easy because I was made to feel welcome by the guys. And up here, which was struggling, it kind of got massaged in a good way, and I wanted to be part of it.
How about for you, Pan? When you got exposed to the MC, how did you feel coming in and having to document that?
Yeah, well, I mean, these are two, these are two very close-knit communities. You know, the fire department, the MC world. And the one thing that can sometimes make them a little uncomfortable is the media and cameras. And so coming in, that's what I represented, right? Like I was the guy coming in with a 50-pound camera, gonna film you guys and film. And these aren't two groups who necessarily, they don't want press. You know what I mean? They do what they do and they enjoy it for the kind of the purity that it is. They don't need somebody coming in and documenting, you know what I mean, what they're doing on any daily basis. I don't think there's really that ego attached to the MC world or to the fire department. That's not to say when the cameras turn on that they don't like to talk a little bit. You know, I got some interviews that ran pretty long, but you know, it was, I don't think we were 100%. I think there was a trust building dance for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the bike is very important to these guys. How's it going to be represented? The history of the fire department, firefighters, what they do, that community, that family. If you're going to document it, you know, you that trust needs to be built or they're going to shut the door on you. And so we had to work really hard to build trust with the individual members and to let them know that we were coming in through the lens of healing and that in the way we document the trauma, it's going to be respectful. It's going to be accurate. It's not going to be sensationalist. We're not here to sell clicks. Like this was not a movie where I'm like, you know, if I can get the shock value of, you know, what firefighters do, wouldn't that be great? I really didn't care about any of that. It was about truth and accuracy. And I think once the firefighters felt like they were being taken care of, that their experience was going to be shown in the as organic a way possible, and that there wasn't action cut, do this for me, do that for me. They just got to live their lives in their profession. And my team are trained to capture that in a highly surreal cinematic light. I think that really helped everybody. When we all could sit around the fire hall table and just be one with one another and not be this media versus the department, PR versus, you know, us, it all became a family. And I think that really, you're going to see it's, I think, the most comprehensive and raw firefighter mental health movie ever made. And the only reason why is because we built that trust over time.
Jesus, is it Jesus?
Yes.
Yes, Jesus. I'll add this. With firefighter, there's an expression in society, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. With firefighters, it tends to be fool me once, there's the door, see you later. and Pan never gave us cause to do that. It started slow, but he was consistent and it morphed into a very good relationship with the film crew and the firefighters.
Awesome. Well, it's an amazing film. I hope it pays homage to all the firefighters and first responders out there. Lastly, can you guys share your social media for anybody who wants to follow your journeys?
Yeah, it's Florian's Knights Movie is the handle across, and then on Twitter it's just Florian's Knights. But for people looking for the movie's coming out theatrically September 10th. Time to the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And for people who want to see showtimes across Canada and the US, they can go to Florian'sKnightsMovie.com, and we have all our showtimes there and everything. So September 10th, it's coming out in select theaters, and including New York City. And you know, our theater there is just steps away from ground zero. So I think it's going to be a really impactful theatrical release.
Definitely. Well, thank you both very much for your time. It was been an honor to talk to both of you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thanks, Jesus.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.